Okay, circle fans, it's time to do our next lesson in circles on central angles and their arc measures. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is what a central angle and its intercepted arc mean. A central angle is any angle that has its vertex at the center of the circle. For example, you can see here in our picture that our center is B. And you can see here that angle ABC has its center, has its vertex right there at the center of the circle. So a central angle is an angle with its vertex at the center, and its two sides are radii or radiuses. You don't say radiuses, you say radii. So you can see that AB here is a radius and BC here is a radius. And then the sum of all the central angles in a circle, meaning if the entire circle was made up of central angles, the sum of all of those would be 360 degrees. All right. So for example, this angle, this central angle is angle ABC or angle CBA. Remember, the order of those letters does not matter as long as the vertex of the angle is in the middle of the name. All right. So then let's talk about the degree of the arc. Now, the arc created by this angle is this arc AC right here. So you notice how AB and BC create kind of this little slice of pizza. Well, this arc is its intercepted arc AC. Okay? And the rule is that whatever the measure of the central angle is, for example, you see that this one is 84, that is equal to the measure of the intercepted arc. So if this angle is 84, then this arc is also 84. They are equal to each other, which means that the measure of arc AC here is 84 degrees. Then it asks us for the measure of arc ADC. Okay, now ADC is named with 3 letters. So we know that that is a major arc. And let's take a look at our circle and let's see if we can figure out which way that goes. So it should start at A, goes around to D, and then goes to C. So we're talking about the rest of the circle here, arc ADC. Now remember, we just said that circles are 360 degrees. And if we know that AC is 84, then to find ADC, we do 360 minus 84, and that gives us 276 degrees. So all of the arcs in a circle should add up to be 360, and every intercepted arc is equal to its central angle. All right, so let's do a couple of examples here. This first example, now the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and write everything I know. So I'm looking at this picture first before I even look at the answer choices. And I see that this angle JNK here, this angle right here, this central angle is 21 degrees. Well, the first thing I know is that since this angle is 21 and since it is a central angle because it starts at the center, then this arc that it makes is also 21 degrees. Then I also know that these two are vertical angles. They're vertical central angles, which means this one is also 21 degrees, and its arc is 21 degrees. So that's a lot to know. Now, I also know, remember that these make 180. This is a linear pair, so that makes 180. So that means that if that little part is 21, then this big part right here should be 180 minus 21. And that gives us 159 degrees. And since this angle is 159, this arc also has to be 159. And then since this side is 159, this other side over here also has to be 159, which means its arc has to be 159. So now I know every angle and every arc in this circle. Now I can go through and fill out my answer choices. So the first thing that the answer choices ask for is the measure of arc JK. Arc JK is this little piece right here, and we can see that that's 21 degrees. Then it wants angle JNM. Now, I'm going to erase everything I kind of have on my circle here so we can see. Actually, I'm okay. JNM. JNM. So it's asking about this angle right over here. And we can see we've already figured that out too. That's 159 degrees. All right, then it asks for arc KL. Arc KL, so that's this piece right here. And we figured that out as well. It's 159 degrees. Then it asks us for arc JKM. Now that's a major arc because it has 3 letters. JKM. So starting at J, going through K, and then all the way around to M. So we're talking about this whole piece here. So take a look at what that does. That is the entire circle except for this 159. So I can just say 360 minus 159 because I know the whole circle is 360 and all I'm leaving out is that 159 there. So 360 minus 159 gives us 201 degrees. And then this last one says MKL. MKL. Now let's see if we can figure out what that one's asking for. Starting at M, going through K, and then around to L. So MKL is asking for this whole part of this circle except for this little 21. So we're going to do 360 minus 21. And that gives us 339 degrees. All right, let's move to the next question. So this next question gives us a couple of things. So let's see if we can figure out everything else in this picture before we get started. So we know that this central angle is 87, which means its arc should also be 87. We know that this arc is 72, which means its angle should also be 72. We can see that this angle, this 72, is vertical to this angle, so it should also be 72, which means its arc should also be 72. All right, then, now take a close look at this. We can see that this is a diameter. That cuts that circle in half, which means that all of this should add up to be 180. All of that should be 180, so I add 87 plus 72, and I get 159, and I subtract that from 180, and I get 21, which means that this little piece left over right here should be 21, and its angle should be 21. Then I can do the exact same thing on the other side of the circle. This should also be 180. So I take 180 minus 72, and I get that this piece should be 108 degrees, which means its angle should be 108 degrees. Now I have all my arcs, I have all my angles, and let's look at the answer choices. The first answer choice asks us for angle UXV. UXV, so that's asking for this central angle right here, and we've already figured that out. That's 72 degrees. Then it asks us for arc ST. Arc ST is this little bitty arc over here that we already figured out was 21 degrees. Then it asks us for arc WV. Arc WV is this arc right here, and we've already figured out that that's 108 degrees. Then it asks us for TW. So TW goes from T right here to W right here. Now that adds together our 21 and our 72. So 21 plus 72 is 93 degrees. And then it asks us for arc TVW. So we start at T, go through V, and then over to W. So we're asking for this whole part of this circle except for this 72. So we're going to do 360 minus 72 because it leaves that out. And 360